we see as being the UAE right now is going to be completely different.
100%.
There's going to be a lot more things like gambling.
Yeah.
Some doctors are not that good as they sound or seem on social media.
Having a startup and being a co-founder is incredibly challenging.
You don't want to wobble. You want to move from confidence to conviction.
What is your thoughts on gambling becoming regulated in the UAE?
I think it was inevitable.
The gaming floor of the win in Ras Al Khaimah is 4 times as big as the one in Las Vegas.
It was a huge clinic, 4 floors, cafeteria, everything. And I was the managing director. And while I was doing that, I really fell in love with the process. And I found that, this is my passion. I enjoyed it. And I found a huge success that made me so proud that I was able to do that. I was the youngest brand managing director. I was 27.
Wow.
So, it gave me the confidence to start Aesthetic. And I want to change the industry. I want to bring excellence and innovation into the medical sector, especially in the aesthetic world. And this is why I started Aesthetic. I want to do the change and basically put my Aya, into
the aesthetics. Brilliant.
It's hard, it's hard. There's a lot of doctors, and no offense to a lot, but some doctors are not that good as they sound or seem on social media. Some doctors are really big on social media, but when it comes to reality, the results are bad.
Sure.
So how to avoid that? You just come to Aesthetic and you just ask them, you know what? I want to do exosomes. I want to do a certain plastic surgery. And my team guides you to the right doctor without, I'm not collaborating. I'm just giving transparent advice due to my experience and my team's experience. They direct you to the right place, and they give you. And honestly, everyone that I have guided, they were very happy. And they come to me and they're very loyal to me and my advice. If they want to do anything, it even became like, if I want to do a hairstyle on New Year's, where do I go? I'm like, okay, I don't do that,
you don't
but
do that,
I'll help you.
Yeah.
I think we use technology more than we realize. And it's taking over our lives drastically. And the thing is I only want to make one comment before I dive in. I don't believe robots can ever replace humans. I don't believe that. I do think they're helping humans and they're helping them a lot, but I don't think it can replace, just to start with, especially in the medical industry. Surgeries are the highest risk. So there's full body anesthesia, downtime that is very long. So when it comes to choosing the right doctor, don't count on results that you see on Instagram.
Yeah.
You have to pick a doctor that is knowledgeable, that is an eligible doctor. There's a lot of doctors, so-called doctors, I wouldn't say, they're not really plastic surgeons. They just have maybe a GP or they're general practitioner, but the results are crazy. And even I'm impressed. I'm like, wow, I want this. But then guess what I do? I do a background check. I see what's the qualification of this doctor?
Yeah.
And this is what I do in aesthetics as well. Like, I do that for you. I'm making a skin booster that should be groundbreaking because it's mixing exosomes and skin boosters. So I want to launch that. And basically I see myself as the #1 consultant in the industry. In the aesthetic world, Aya is the person. If I want anything, I'll go to aesthetic, I'll go to Aya. She'll give me the right advice. Trust. I'll get the trust of people. That's where I see myself. I see myself helping people run their businesses without any financial agenda. I really want to make a change. And I've always been like that. I've never thought about the materialistic part of my job. I always thought about, let me help, money flows.
Yeah.
Success comes, money follows.
I've always said it's the unpaid work that matters, and
Exactly.
eventually it comes. You've taken this leap, this step into, it's like I say, it's uncertainty. It's the world of uncertainty.
It's uncertainty,
Yeah, yeah.
but guess what? I'm certain of my power. I'm certain of my skills. I'm certain in my hard work.
Yeah.
I think no matter how much knowledge you have, you can always expand that by working hard. Even if you didn't have, my pharmacy degree really helps, but even if I didn't have that, if I work hard, this is why I see a lot of people that are successful. They didn't go to school, but they're successful. They're billionaires. They're millionaires.
Yes, of course, yeah.
So because they work hard, they're smart, they know what they're doing. And this is basically what I'm going to teach my kids in the future. That
as the true saying goes, listen, work smart, not hard as well. Yep.
I get to have my friends from all over the world. They're all happy. They're all free to do whatever they want.
Sure.
And I think freedom is the most valuable thing a human being can have.
Yeah.
And the UAE has managed to give that to everyone.
For sure.
And that's why the UAE is exceeding. It's
Well, it's growing so rapidly. I always say Dubai for me is the best city in the world. It creates so much opportunities. Your network here is flawless.
It's flawless.
The people you meet are good energy. Everyone wants everyone to do well. And if you're not in Dubai, I think you're behind the game. I'll be honest with you.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I always say that.
Yeah.
It's just, I always thought, you know what? Every day I wake up, I say, thank God.
Yeah.
That's my ritual. I say, thank God. I look around, I'm in Dubai. Because I've also been in Syria and I've experienced war and I've experienced being not safe constantly for years. So when I'm in Dubai and I see this too much peace, it's unreal. If you think about it, alcohol is haram and pork is haram.
But alcohol became very, very open now.
And it's very open. So gambling, so what? You know, I think it's if the only thing is this country is letting gambling or alcohol or whatever available to people, that doesn't make it less Muslim country. It just gives access to people that are non-Muslim. And let's face it, Dubai is mainly expats.
100%.
It's not, the majority is not Muslim.
Yeah.
It's not Emiratis. The majority is the expats. So
Absolutely.
Dubai and the UAE is providing all the means to the expats. And this is why people are happy here. If you want to make the #1 country and city in the world, that's what you do, and they're doing it right.
So who's not saying once Ras Al Khaimah launches the Win on Marjan Island, then you'll start seeing them popping up in Dubai as well.
Okay.
So I've done some research on it.
Obviously, you're the expert in that. But do you think it's going to compete with the international gaming?
I think 100%. I mean, the gaming floor of the Win in Ras Al Khaimah is 4 times as big as the one in Las Vegas.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's very
It's
impressive.
4
I didn't know
times.
that.
Yeah. So you learn something new every day, yeah?
You learn something new every day. We're
I've
learning
never
a lot.
been to a casino.
We learn a lot at bedtime.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Well, listen, thank you for having you on the show. It's been great having you on. To learn more about aesthetics, learn more about sort of medtech, learn more about healthcare within the UAE. Good luck with iaesthetics.ae. Check it out, guys. iaesthetics.ae with a Y, not an E. Yes. We've sort of we haven't parted ways, but you've been busy flying all over the world. I've been going in the opposite direction. So I'm a bit lost without you, to be honest.
Oh, that's cute, isn't it? I mean, I do keep you, I think, a little bit on the straight and narrow. Just when you're veering off a bit, I'm like, Rick, come back
That's
to
my
the
gaming
centre.
background.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I mean, we're going to hit up Dubai, get it cracking. I feel like there's so much happening in Dubai right now that it's the best place to be. And I'm going to be back here a lot more. You're here, so we can actually really push for it.
Absolutely. And obviously there's been so much going off. I know obviously you've been more towards different expos where I've been sort of going to different different brands. But yeah, I mean, it's very exciting times, Dubai. Crypto's booming.
Yeah, I mean, I did say that if the elections went well, we would see things going absolutely nuts. I knew just before as well it was going to go nuts.
Yeah.
And I think we could hit 100k this year for Bitcoin. I really do, considering how bullish everyone's being.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's just
times.
at all-time highs. I mean, Trump's just been elected, so wow, the world's going mad, but in a good way.
Yeah, I mean, I see some people's posts that are like, hate this is the worst thing that's ever happened.
Yeah.
Some people are obviously always going to be against Trump and the movement that he's trying to do. But, I mean, I watched his electoral speech and I think it's incredible what he's trying to do. It's all about the people, and that's the same as what Bitcoin is all about. It's about empowering the people, giving them their own custody of the assets that they have. Yeah. So I think actually what he's trying to do aligns so well with the crypto industry, and I do think that we're going to see some amazing things coming out of the US now. I think there's going to be a huge push of companies, conferences, everything. The world is going to be way more open for trade.
Agreed. Well, listen, like I say, thanks for coming on the show. Here at Bet Talks, we discuss everything from gaming/gambling. I know obviously you've got a big involvement in that, which we'll come to. Crypto, blockchain, everything emerging tech within the UAE. Now, I mean, you've been coming to Dubai now, living here, then living back in Europe for several years now. Dubai is taking off like I've never seen before. There's so much happening. It's becoming this sort of tech hub. Where do you see Dubai in the next sort of 5 to 10 years?
Gosh, I think it's crazy. Like, as you say, me being back in Europe, it blows my mind how many people say to me, I'm moving to Dubai, I'm moving my business, I'm moving my family over. It's just crazy. I think, especially with, again, some of the things happening in Europe as well.
And the US, serious problems.
People have been having reasons to leave, and Dubai is just a great place to come to. For innovation as well, there really aren't many barriers. Like, if you want to innovate, here is the place to do it. They're going to help to regulate it in the best way possible. They're going to help to give you the best start as a company you can possibly have. All of these things, tax rate reasons. There's so many positive reasons to operate in the UAE, and I think people are really capitalizing on it and thinking, why am I missing out on this? Like, I can just move my business, especially if it's in the tech space. You can even get your visas now, 10-year visas for people that are
golden visas,
exactly, for people that are really inspirational in the space. So I just think it's a no-brainer for a lot of people. Like, why would you not think about relocating, being part of this big crazy change? And it's a new
movement.
It's a movement in its own right. It's creating completely different city that the world has ever seen. And like we complain about like things like traffic, and rather than sitting there and thinking, oh yeah, the traffic's awful, but we can't do anything, Dubai, like, you know what, why don't we bring in flying cars? Why don't we do this? It's incredible. There's no point where they're not thinking about how do we make things better? How do we change? How do we adapt? So I just think, even people I wouldn't even imagine moving to the UAE, and you know what I mean, there's certain people that are extremely indoorsy and don't really branch out into the world, are still moving to the UAE, like the real techie guys that you wouldn't necessarily think would be attracted to the glamour and the lifestyle of the UAE. But I think people are realizing as well, you don't have to have that lifestyle anymore. Not like, I think even our friends, like most people chill out a lot. They're doing more of the fitness things, the beach life. You don't really need to do all that side of Dubai. And I think that side, it's there for a lot of tourists, but if people living here, they can just create this amazing life, amazing connections. Especially if you're moving somewhere where everyone else is moving, the opportunity's there. If you want to meet a VC fund, there's tons here. If you want to meet other startup founders, if you want to meet media companies, everything you need is here.
Everything you need, I think when you've been here as long as we have as well, I mean, I'm coming up to my 6th year, right? You've sort of been there, done it all, right? You've been to every single party, you've been to every beach club, and eventually...
Rick has as well.
You want to sort of stop. You make that life where you actually are having an enormous sort of nights and enjoying the sort of what Dubai offers, rather than that sort of that party sort of beach life.
Although we say that, but there's so many events in our space.
So many events
that you try and live that chill life, but you still probably go to like 3 events a night.
Minimum. Like every single night, there's something on. I'm invited somewhere. So, I mean, I wouldn't knock it. It's great. The network is growing massively. The podcast, the channel is taking off, and my network is growing huge, which obviously what I wanted to come to was obviously my network is mainly in the gaming side of things, which obviously gaming/gambling is coming to the UAE. Now, I know you've been doing a lot in the space. What's your thoughts on that?
I think it's exciting. I think, again, the UAE doesn't want to be left behind, so they've realised that they have to adapt, but do it in the right way. So they're making sure that it's in an area which they can just completely renovate and change it and make it perfect for having gambling. But it also keeps it away from some of the Arabic culture that might be slightly against the gambling side of things. I think they've done it in the right way where it's going to be there again for people that really want to utilize it, but it's not compromising on their culture or what they already have established, which I think is really important, because sometimes people wonder, how can you have a Muslim country and also have gambling? But it's also saying that just Dubai and the UAE is open to everything and anything as long as they're doing it in the way that they choose to do it, and then there's no issues behind it, there's no conflict of interest. It's just going to happen in the right way. You're going to have this amazing casino. It's going to be absolutely incredible, let's be honest. We know how well the UAE executes.
Absolutely. Well, the Win now have officially been granted a gambling license, gaming license in Ras Al Khaimah. There's nothing saying that Abu Dhabi, Fujairah, Dubai is not going to be having casinos in the coming future, but there's nothing confirmed yet. They're saying it's going to be 4 times the size of the Win in Vegas.
Yeah, it's mental. And it's not taking long either.
No, the actual gaming floor is apparently going to be 4 times the size of the Wynn in Vegas. And the Wynn in Vegas is huge.
Yeah.
So there is actually that license that's been granted. I know you was out there last week.
Yeah, I was in Ras Al Khaimah. Yeah, my second time in Ras Al Khaimah.
And I was there as well. I was out on a car rally. I saw the development. I mean, it's still a shell at the moment.
Yeah, I think Ras Al Khaimah, I think that's why I generally think it's a great idea to do it somewhere which isn't overly established yet. I think it's a good way to kind of just see how the market goes as well. How do people actually enjoy having gambling within the UAE? I mean, I think it's going to be huge, and I don't think they need to trial it.
Vegas has 40 million visitors a year.
Yeah.
The UAE has 17 million.
Yeah. So
they're missing out.
Yeah, so if they add that, and I think when they make it more of a, like the Vegas style, where there's tons of casinos and it really is that amazing area, that will be when we see ultimately even more people coming. But even starting with one casino, especially with that size of it, it's going to be crazy. And the infrastructure's again growing. That Ras Al Khaimah, I'm pretty sure they're going to be putting an airport there. You also have Sharjah Airport. People forget you can fly into Sharjah as well. Dubai, obviously, they're going to remodel the airport. You're going to have the new Dubai airport opening in 10 years now as well.
In Mar South,
Yeah, so there's just so many different things. So I think what we see as being the UAE right now is going to be completely different
100%
than what we're going to see in 10 years when people are actually, there's going to be a lot more things like gambling. It's going to be way open to everything. But so I think if you're here right now creating businesses and being part of that movement, you really have a lot of opportunity.
100%. It's becoming this mega hub.
Yeah,
for everything.
Absolute mega hub. One, for the fact that it really is so central in the world. Traveling from London this summer, God, it was brutal.
Yeah.
Because it's so far. I had to go to Bali. Just a casual 19, 20 hours to get to Bali because you have to stop in Dubai. On the way home from Tokyo, another 20-hour flight because you've got to go via Dubai.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to Bangkok next week. 6 hours. Nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
Literally, I look at that now and think, well, great. And it's on Emirates. The best in my opinion. Yeah,
best airline in the world.
Yeah, Emirates is incredible. So life here is just good, simple within a way, but everything's convenient.
Everything's convenient. And I mean, you're flying all over the world, same as me. I mean, when I leave, I just can't wait to come back.
Yeah.
It's so easy here. It's so easy in Dubai. Everything's accessible. Weather's great. You know what I mean? Service is just through the roof. There's so much perks to being in Dubai. You just don't want to leave anymore. No,
and now you definitely won't even have to. If you're going to have gambling here as well, you've got everything you need. I have a friend visiting at the moment, and the list of what we possibly could do is just insane. We drove past the water parks today, and I was like, oh yeah, that's another thing we could have done, but we're not going to get to do.
Yeah.
And the list is endless. You could come here for 3 weeks and not even touch the surface of what there is in Dubai. Restaurant-wise, it's just insane. I went to a 3 Michelin star restaurant. Well, I don't think they've got their 3 stars yet, but I went there on Monday and just incredible experience.
Incredible.
And this is all on your doorstep.
And there's so much, there's beach clubs popping up every other month. There's different restaurants. You're spoiled for choice. You're literally spoiled for choice.
I don't even feel like I've done it. People mention stuff now. I'm like, I actually haven't been there. This is terrible.
Yeah, of course.
I used to be the one I've been there. I've been there.
Yeah.
I haven't been to any of the new openings.
Yeah.
Just because there's just too much.
It's
overwhelming. But yeah, I think all of this comes with the fact that it's growing. More people are coming here, which just means more people that come here, the more opportunities there are.
Absolutely. Okay, well, listen, enough on Dubai. Everyone knows it's an amazing mega hub that's happening, and there's so much movement, and the gaming's coming. Now, I want to know more about Lily Dowsett. Obviously, your involvement within crypto and Web3. How did it all start? Tell me how it all started.
Well, we better go way back. So I have a chemistry degree, and I hated working in labs. Imagine me working in labs. Yeah,
okay.
It was funny. Yeah. In my lab coat, my goggles on, just absolute nightmare. And you know how clumsy I am.
The nutty professor.
Yeah, I was basically that was in my hair, just stuck up everywhere. Yeah, and I was absolutely useless. Then I went and worked in corporate finance. So I did corporate finance for 4 years in the city of London. Absolutely hated working in an office. Finance world just did not suit me. I questioned a lot. I didn't understand why we just did the same things we've done for literally hundreds of years. It's we still do things like that. why are we not thinking of pushing forward? We're moving into a very different time, which is in my mind this like digital era, which not really, the banking system was never keeping up on that. It was so backwards and archaic, and I really didn't enjoy working in the space. Sorry, anyone that's watching that I work with, but it wasn't me. It definitely was not for me. So then I had an opportunity to move to Dubai to work for Supercar Blondie as a presenter. I also am an absolutely awful driver, so that wasn't the best. Again, don't get in a car with me. You know I don't drive here now. PTSD. I did get to drive some supercars. That was fun, but I shouldn't be let behind the wheel of a car.
No.
And then, I started trading crypto during lockdown. And then when I was here, just seeing how many people was in the crypto space, I was like, this is really interesting. Like all the little bits and pieces that I know, it'd be great to talk to some people and understand like what their knowledge is, how they've made so much money in this space. So I started up my podcast, Talk Crypto to Me, like 3-4 years ago now.
Wow.
And then one day someone asked me to work on stage. So I started working on stage and emceeing. That's gone absolutely crazy, where there's just so much work as an MC, and I absolutely love it. I think it's one of the most fascinating things because I get to meet the most incredible people, both of us. Like, you get to introduce speakers who are millionaires, billionaires even, that have created these incredible businesses, and you get to have a chat to them, you get to network with them. It's just a really amazing way to get to know what's happening, and like you listen to what they're saying on stage. And it's fascinating what's to come in the industry, what's working, what's not working, what companies are kind of needed to be created in order to accelerate growth. So then to the on-stage stuff, now people ask me to kind of advise them on projects as well, especially like bringing them to market, because I think that's such a hard thing in the space, is how do I take my idea and my concept and how do I make it actually reality?
And implement it to the market,
Exactly.
So you find, I mean, I'm a very similar business model. So obviously we do our hosting, we do the emceeing, and it gives us a great network, which I tap that network into different solutions and services that I can offer. The advisory part is huge because we have that network globally that we can tap that in and be advisors on different projects, which is where the future holds more for me now. So where do you see Lily Dowse in the next sort of 5 to 10 years on a business model?
I mean, I think my main thing is, the advisory side of things. So really working with brands to help take them to market, help to actually unleash their true potential, so connecting them with the right people, making sure that operationally they have everything in the right place, because obviously we've seen projects which have come to us and then they're no longer existing in a couple of years, and you kind of learn along the way. So trying to give that advice back to people, because if you've been here and you've seen it, you don't want it to happen again to other people. So really giving that advice and helping people along their journey. I would definitely say hosting more conferences as well. I mean, some of the conferences I get to do now, I sometimes like pinch myself because I'm like, this is absolutely insane. Bitcoin Mina, Eric Trump is going to be one of our speakers, so I get to like chat to him.
Arsenal Football Club you work with?
I worked with Arsenal when they were here. Right now, I'm not the best time to be an Arsenal fan, but then it wasn't that great then either. But still, I reckon I can put a smile on. If I saw them now, I'd be like, for God's sake,
should be a Notts Forest fan. I mean.
Yeah, no, that's not. So I don't think I can convert, but also, that's been pretty shit. But Arsenal, just sometimes it just blows my mind. The people that I get to meet, the people that I'm connected with, incredible. I just think that our industry is so open to getting to know people, and people you think would be off limits in other industries. I don't know, say the CEO of JP Morgan. How the hell are you going to get to chat to him? I do not know. Yeah. But in our industry, CEOs are around all the time. You can easily access them. You can go to them with your ideas. You can chat to them on LinkedIn. It's so much more open that I really do love that. So I think, utilizing my network, building up, working on like the biggest stages I can. So as many people as possible, thousands of people would be lovely to have in the audience. Award shows as well, I think increasing that. And probably for both of us, the American market now will probably be also
the US market is a completely different market separate from the world. It is literally.
It is. Yeah. And it's been so closed off, but I do think now we'll probably get more jobs overseas, going to the US. Obviously it's great, it's from Dubai, again, it's not that far.
No.
One flight across to Miami or New York, wherever you want to go. And I think then that sort of market will also be really, really big.
It's like I think it's like 70 to 80% of Americans don't even do business outside of America.
Yeah.
So it's just their own world in
exactly.
the US.
So I think now is a good time to try and tap into it, try and get more clients on that side of things.
Are you currently signed by specific brands? I mean, how many brands are you currently signed with at the moment, like for a long-term longevity?
Yeah, so like ecosystems will hire me. So Bitcoin conference I've hosted this year, Hong Kong, Amsterdam, Abu Dhabi's coming up next year. I think it will be the same, plus Vegas that they'll be having. So that would be a really big one. Cosmoverse I just did here. They're international, so they change every year where they're hosting their conference. God, I have so many people in my inbox ask me for stuff as well. I end up like, I don't have time to fit everything in because there's so much happening. What else have I got internationally? Lots of offers on the table as well. People that I'm communicating with to try and see what I can fit in and what I can't fit in as well. But it's been an amazing year. I can say that.
I mean, you're traveling the world. I mean, you've traveled more than me this year. I mean, last year was hectic for me as well. But I scaled it back a little bit because we're in Dubai and everything is here.
It's true.
Everything's here. Like, for instance, I didn't go out to the Token 2049 because everyone you meet a month later was coming back to Dubai. So, and also my main field is not the crypto space, it's more the gaming side of things. So this is what the podcast is about, more to network, to bring in more people to the show, to get their insights on gaming regulation coming into play. But crypto does merge with that massively, right? Obviously, crypto is used for payment solutions within gaming. It's used for obviously operators, affiliates, suppliers, all using mainly stable tokens.
Yeah.
Now, you're flying all over the world to crypto conferences. What's the feedback on the market globally? What are people's perspective of what's happening with crypto?
I mean, one, of course, everyone's super bullish. You're really seeing that people are excited. Conferences, people are spending some serious money. The side events that people put on. Yeah. It's even, I mean, in comparison to even some of the gambling events, like it's up there.
It's up there.
It's incredible what people
It's up
are
there
doing.
now.
Yes.
Now.
This was this year. You've really seen this like sudden push of actually showcasing what they're doing and the money that they're earning.
Well, people are making a 400x on meme coins.
yeah, exactly. Like the sponsoring that they've done, you're seeing them sponsoring like more F1 and different sports teams. It really has just grown exponentially. It really has shown.
I think it's changed in the last 2 years.
Yeah, and I think we're seeing that a lot of projects are also changing their position, like the most important ones. Ethereum obviously has always been one of those important blockchains in the space. It continues to be that, but I think a lot of the others like Solana is really showcasing that you can take that blockchain and improve on it, and more people are going to choose to build on you than they are the Ethereum network. So that's also been quite interesting because I think it's shown that new things are coming out which are actually better than our old blockchains. So what's going to happen to the old blockchains? Bitcoin's fine because it's the OG, it's the monetary part of the industry. No one goes to any other token really in terms of digital gold. It doesn't happen. But Ethereum, there's all of this competition happening there. And I think they're all having to push harder, work harder, do more. And the meme coins as well, like Solana's been a big part of that. So yeah, I think seeing the shift of people transforming the utilities of blockchain, building on Bitcoin as well. I mean, a couple of years ago, Bitcoin maxis would not listen to you if you said, yeah, we're going to build on Bitcoin. Yeah. Now they're like, hell yeah, let's build some layer 2s. Let's see if we can do some ordinals and runes. Let's see how we can shape this landscape slightly differently. Staking of Bitcoin, all of this stuff adds utility that it didn't quite utilize before. So I think we're seeing this shift in people really trying to push for change in the industry and be more open to trying different things, launching different things. We're less and less seeing the real useless things coming out. Okay, meme coins, I'm not a huge fan of them, but people are making some serious money from them. So I do think meme coins will continue for this year, next year. Eventually, we're not going to see, they will die out eventually. At what point that's going to be, I can't quite say. But I do hope we're going to start seeing like altcoin season. Some of the big AI projects out there, I absolutely adore. Fetch AI, Render, all of this stuff. I really want them to have their day because I do think it's incredible as well what they're doing in the space. I think we're going to see this big shift. I think probably not this year, but more utility, more things that actually make sense in the space.
0x processing are focused mainly on two things: acceptance rate and security, achieving an unprecedented level by combining blockchain infrastructure with broad account security measures. 0x processing, a crypto payment gateway for your business.
It was accidental, actually. I had started just trading. Okay, so I had been trading my own equities, my own stocks for a long time, since I was a teenager, actually. And in 2019, a friend who I traded stock tips with had told me I might want to pick up some Bitcoin. The price was really low. So I did. So I bought some Bitcoin and I started swing trading it. So I was just, selling in and out and taking advantage of the price action. At some point in mid-2019, the price rose. I think it was something like 40% in a few days. So it really took off.
Yeah.
And I was out of the trade on about half my position. So, that was too bad. And then a little bit later, about a year later, an app called Clubhouse came out.
Okay.
So Clubhouse was a social media app. It's still around, but it was very similar to Twitter Spaces. So it was an audio-only app. And so I got an invitation to try out the app, hopped on, and there were these Bitcoin rooms. Okay. So I jumped into the rooms, really just hoping to get trading alpha, and was sitting in the audience listening to the guys speak. And I didn't know who they were at the time, but they were Bitcoin company CEOs, they were core developers, they were miners and energy guys, they were kind of cultural icons, and they all kind of knew each other previously, and they had found each other on this app. And because it was COVID, everybody was home with quarantine and they were starved for human interaction. And so they were spending like 12 and 18 hours a day on the app just talking about Bitcoin, right? So they were, just carrying on conversation and educating people who were listening. And so I had gone in just for trading alpha, but ended up getting this master class in Bitcoin and all different aspects of it. So going down the different rabbit holes, and the conversations just went on and on. I was listening to it in the background while I was working my job at the time. Yeah, I have not found it to be an issue at all. I think it's certainly very male-dominated for sure, and that's very different from my prior career. My whole career was spent in big corporate America. I worked in the apparel industry. I was a fashion merchant, and then I worked at Starbucks in the corporate environment, and they were all heavily female. So it was a huge change coming into crypto and Bitcoin, which, is maybe 90% male. But honestly, I find it an advantage. I think there's a lot of surprise when I walk into a room at this point, and I really have earned a lot of knowledge. I've built a knowledge base, and I think earned a certain amount of respect from my peers. And so I think, to a certain extent, it makes people double take a little bit. Like, there aren't that many women, and of those women, maybe, a subset are impressive.
Yeah. Do you find they try and pressure test you sometimes? Like, oh, does she really know?
Yes, I do think they do that, but I also think that I'm able to pass that test within a couple of minutes. I'm sorry?
It's a bit of a buzz sometimes because you're like, yeah, I know my stuff. It's okay.
Yeah. I actually enjoy it, and I feel like I kind of passed that test really quickly, like within a few minutes. And so then you actually see it click a little bit, where they're like, oh, okay, she's one of the guys. Yeah. It's not a thing with her, and I feel the same way. It's not a thing for me towards them, and I love the space. I love Bitcoin. I think it's going to do amazing things for the world, and I'm excited to get to build on it.
Yeah. So talk to me about Anchor Watch. What is it? What inspired the name?
So Anchor Watch is an insurance provider. So it's a very traditional business. And, we noticed on this app, we were hanging out on the app Clubhouse about 3 years ago, and we were talking about how insurance was lacking in Bitcoin. So in the crypto industry, there's a few kind of insurance options covering bits and pieces of the industry, but really custody insurance is sorely lacking. And so if you custody Bitcoin, if you self-custody Bitcoin, you're taking on all that risk yourself. So we identified that really insurance should exist. It's an asset, it's a highly valuable asset. People do face risks, and the technology to secure it is extremely robust. Right. Yeah. And so we built a best-in-class custody solution. So what we've built is something, we've called it Trident Vault, and it is the next generation of Bitcoin custody. So previously, really kind of the standard was multi-sig, where you distribute keys, maybe a 2 of 3. And we've gone quite a bit farther than that. We're utilizing tech called Miniscript, which allows us to distribute keys even farther. We can have multiple multi-sigs. So for example, a company could have their own multi-sig, but we also hold keys alongside them, and they're both required. And we also use things called time locks that allow the behavior of the vault and the security to change over time. So we can have recovery options and catastrophe management. So we built this custody solution that ultimately is by far the safest way to hold Bitcoin. And then we back it by a Lloyd's of London insurance policy to further protect customers.
Okay, amazing. I saw that it was backed by Lloyd's.
Yeah, so that was a huge deal. It took a long time to get that backing. We had to go through a couple of years of compliance and due diligence with them, and really prove out the tech, and even ourselves that we were reputable and that we would take good care of customers. We're able to serve commercial and retail customers, and it was quite a high bar to be able to take care of retail customers. They place a lot of importance on making sure that we're treating customers fairly. So we went through that process, and Lloyd's is the oldest and most trusted insurer in the world, and we're able to cover individual and company business customers up to $100 million each.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah, and you asked about the name Anchor Watch.
Yeah.
So Anchor Watch is an old nautical term, and it is the shift of sailors, like in the Navy, the shift of sailors who would protect the ship while at anchor or at port. And so we're protecting Bitcoin while it's in cold storage. We're keeping an eye on it when it's safe and sound. So that's where the name came from.
That's a really cool concept.
Thank you.
So obviously, a lot of your business is US, and you're shifting to the Middle East?
Currently we are authorized to distribute insurance in the United States. So currently we have customers between $250,000 and $100 million worth of Bitcoin in the US, but we are rapidly working on expanding to additional countries. So, we really are kind of a boring old insurance provider. So the insurance itself is property insurance. So it's a very understandable policy. If you think about maybe purchasing and investing in fine arts. So let's say you buy a painting and you have your painting assessed and it's a $5 million painting. You would buy a $5 million property insurance policy. And this works really, really similarly. If you have $5 million of Bitcoin, you can buy a $5 million insurance policy. So in terms of the regulators, we were able to kind of demonstrate that with the way Bitcoin custody works, it really is just a boring old insurance policy, which means we're able to kind of fit within the existing regulations.
Okay. And given do you think that obviously with the crypto space keeping on evolving, what do you think of Donald Trump obviously coming into power? Obviously it went up and it's come down and leveled. And
well, I mean, I think he's a volatile personality, and I would expect his impact to also be volatile, right? So, a lot has happened just in a few weeks leading up to and since he took office. So I think one thing in particular that I think is really great for the industry is the clarification on SAB 121. So that's a regulation that now has been clarified to mean that banks are able to custody Bitcoin. So I think that's really important. I think, as larger pools of capital come into the space, they're looking for really reputable players to help them hold that asset. We're obviously playing a role in that, and we're happy to insure banks as they start building their capabilities. But I think that's one thing that's really positive.
I mean, what's your thoughts on, I know you mainly focus on Bitcoin, but what's your thoughts on like meme coins?
I think one thing I appreciate about meme coins is that they don't pretend to be something that they're not. Okay. So I think of them truly as gambling. And so if you're going to participate in that, you need to do so at your own risk. But I at least appreciate that, I think a lot of tokens in the prior cycle were making promises about, utility and functionality and changing the world. And ultimately, there was a company and maybe some ulterior motives behind those tokens that weren't very transparent to the users. I think with meme coins, it is a little more, the coin's heart is on its sleeve, if you will, and it's more straightforward. I think they're highly, highly risky. I still think there's small groups of people that control a large supply of the tokens early in the issuance. And so if you're going to play, you just have to really understand that it may not all be as it seems. So
yeah, I think it just seems to be more community-led, really, doesn't it? The meme coin side of things rather than...
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the story anyway. Yeah. I think once it achieves scale, so if a meme coin achieves, tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of holders, I think it truly is just kind of a game that a large group of people are playing together. I think early on, though, again, I think there's a small group of people that maybe tell a story about being a community-led thing when in reality, there are still ulterior motives. So overall, I think I'm a bit of a free market capitalist, so I think people should be able to do what they would like, but I would say to tread cautiously.
How have you found being a startup? Like, what challenges have you come across? Because obviously what you've built is quite revolutionary within that market. You must have come across a few hurdles
I think having a startup and being a co-founder is incredibly challenging. I had heard that before. I don't think you ever can really appreciate what that means until you're in it. My co-founder likes to say we chew a lot of glass. So it really is just every day is very, very challenging. Just because I think, it really is. It's just a small team. Everything is on your shoulders. Yeah. You are doing... putting in Herculean efforts to do a massive amount of work. And I've always worked very hard in large companies. I was never somebody that slacked off, and yet I simply could not have ever kind of dreamed how hard I would be working right now. Specifically, we ran into challenge after challenge on the tech side, trying to figure out really how to properly protect what we expect will be billions and billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin on our platform, and really be the groundbreaking builders building on Miniscript. We're not the only ones, but we are absolutely pushing this technology forward, which means the tech team is, paving the way for others, which means they run into challenges and roadblocks all the time that they have to figure out themselves, because there aren't a ton of resources out there for them to go to. And then on the business side, again, really it was immensely difficult to get the Lloyd's of London backing. Becoming a Lloyd's of London cover holder is a huge achievement. And, to get to the point that they said yes, we were told no many, many times by other traditional insurers who maybe thought that what we were doing was interesting, but they weren't really willing to enter the industry quite yet. So you would spend a lot of time kind of pitching and explaining what you were doing, and they would ask for due diligence. And so you would spend weeks or even months kind of making your case. And then at the end of them, they'd be like, well, it's so interesting, but yeah, it's not for us. We're not really into crypto. And so just, again and again, having to go back to the drawing board, and eventually we found an amazing partner in Lloyd's. So that's been very, very gratifying to get there, but it was a long road.
Yeah, it sounds like persistency is key, really, in
Yep.
business.
I
You just
say-
got to keep going.
Absolutely. I say our team has immense endurance.
Okay.
Because, and we still do. We're still going. We just launched a few weeks ago to customers, and we said building up to that point, we had built and built and built just to get to the starting line, right? So we built for 3 years just to get to the point that we get to begin. I don't think I have anything particularly unique, but I think if you want to build a company that will last, you really do have to solve a problem for somebody. So, if you want to build on something, make sure that you perceive that there's a market for it. What problem exists that you are actually removing for somebody or solving for somebody, and make sure it's something that you're passionate about. Because everything I just said about endurance and chewing glass and running into roadblocks, that's very real. And if you're not passionate and excited about what you're building, it's hard to be motivated to keep going on that. When you get punched in the face, it's hard to keep getting up if you don't really believe in what you're building. And so certainly, I think all founders are hoping to eventually, find rewards for their work, but you have a long road before you feel those rewards. So you really need to emotionally be in what you're doing.
Yeah, because we have a lot of entrepreneurs, business owners that watch the show, and how do you navigate burnout? Because inevitably, anyone who owns a business comes to face that at some point because you're putting your all in.
Yeah. Again, I think we're a special group of people who have the demeanor to have that endurance. But certainly, I don't know if burnout is the right word for us, because we do keep going and we do have that endurance to push through it. But yeah, just some days, it's immensely difficult, and it's hard and it's lonely. And I was warned ahead of time. One of my friends and investors told me that it's a very lonely thing, and I believed him, but I also didn't really know what that meant. And what it means is that nobody cares about what you're doing as much as you do. Yeah. Especially when you're pre-launch and you're building, nobody can see what you're doing, right? So your head's down. You're in your office alone, just working. And, even if you have a really lovely, supportive family, good friends, they don't know what you're doing. And so you really are in this kind of solitary race. And some days, not many, I don't take many days off, but, every couple of months I take a day off, and I sleep and just do what I want to do. And, I have a garden and I try to be in nature a little bit, or I go ski, and, but it's short breaks, right? So you really do have to, if you need a break, you take a break, but then you have to shake it off and get back to the computer and keep at it.
I made sure I made a presence coming to Dubai, spending 40 days at a time, and introducing them to the work that I've been doing. And they were really, they really appreciated the work around the Breaking Cinderella program, which is heavily about internal leadership, how we cultivate and create the internal power that you're discussing. But how do you do that? And how do you direct it to the things that you're looking to create? Because many of us move through the world and think, okay, I'm going to get power when I'm part of that world, that job. Maybe when I'll have power when I marry that man or that woman, or I have to be in that circle, on that yacht, at that party, that watch, that house, right? Whatever it is, we've given power to those things, and we flip that narrative and assign and create internal power by calling it in, creating certain ways of thinking.
Manifesting, right? It's a manifestation.
That's an aspect of it. Manifesting is heavily directly connected to neuroscience, so we can link those very easily. So we call it manifesting, or we call it neuroscience.
Same?
Yes.
Same but different, yeah?
Yes. Described differently, but same.
Now, I know you're sales and operations performance expert. Now, explain to me what that title means. What is the foundation of that?
So I was in sales for a very long time in the beginning of my career, and I did very well. And when the couple times that I didn't do well, I can tell you exactly why. The last company I worked for at the time sold, I started a sales training company because it made the most sense. I've done really well in it. So I went through the Kellogg sales training program. It's a business school out of Chicago, and built my program. And I started doing really well with that. I picked up Fortune 500 companies, multi-billion-dollar businesses, and I was training their executives. And I got great feedback because I was not just incorporating structural processes on how to be great at sales, because even though that's necessary, the bigger part of being successful at anything, let alone sales, is the intention of what I'm leading with, how I show up energetically, because my energy speaks before I do. Correct. That intuitive feeling when somebody knows they want to work with me, or if they're like, something doesn't feel right? I'm training people how to acknowledge and then present themselves with the intention that supports that, from confidence to conviction, ultimately. So it started with sales. I did really well. I moved it into business consulting. I brought on 10 business coaches. 2023, I actually ended up getting recruited by a brand in Miami, $100 million brand, to be the president of their company. They were having some trouble and they needed some help. And so I came in, helped clean up their operations, never to be a long-term thing. Always kept my consulting practice. Once I cleaned that up, I basically, after that, spent the rest of my time in Dubai. And that's essentially the whole story. It's like one thing led to another, led to another.
What advice would you give to especially women within the tech space?
I would say the most important thing that anyone does at all is go through a process to build confidence and then get to the confidence. But the challenge with confidence is you can wobble. Something happens, you're wobbling. You don't want to wobble. You want to move from confidence to conviction. When you are standing in conviction, that's when you close business. That's when people are inspired around you and they're like, you know what, there's this power around you, or they tell you things like this because you're in conviction. And it's not this need for anything, because you know that you are getting it done. You've got the expertise, like whatever it takes that you need to analyze to get yourself to conviction. I would spend the 90% of my time on that. And, skill set and whatever you feel is necessary, because maybe you're not quite there, build that so that you can get to conviction. I'm the kind of person that when I meet people, and I hear this for a long time, they're like, oh, I feel like I've known you forever. And they tell me so much information. They're like, I've never told anyone this. And I'll tell you why I believe that's true. Because one, obviously I'm kind and all the normal things that you should be doing when you're meeting somebody. But I'll tell you what I think people miss. Energetically, internally, my internal conversation is always to come from non-judgment. I do not judge. I hold on to no resentment or anger. So that's not in my energy field. You're not feeling that heaviness. So when I meet people, they feel this sense of safety around me because
they're comfortable with you.
Very comfortable because there's zero judgment. And I tell myself discernment is one thing, judging is another, right? Discerning, paying attention to the things that you need to pay attention to guide you to move away or towards someone, that's a thing, but not to judge it. And I think that's a really important piece when networking, is to come into a space with the intention of being very open-minded and curious. The more curious you are about other people, the better for you, because it's a service mentality. The worst thing that we can do in networking is go out into a space and I'm here for my own self. one of the best things while networking that you can do is, you know what? I actually know someone that could help you. And if you come from that, I guarantee you every time it's going to come back. It always does.
Always comes back,
but if in a networking environment, it's not just about me, but it's my network. And I've got a few people in mind that I know I could connect that are currently looking for things. Like I have a mastermind group. I know each person in our mastermind is looking for certain things. So I'm paying attention when I meet people, whether or not I can connect them. When we look at high performance teams, we start with, internal alignment and how we show up in the world, because if we can get very clear on that and build awareness, we can accelerate our results. Now, when we look at performance, since we're very business oriented, there's actually a study done called the Aristotle Project by Google, where they took 180 of their teams and wanted to understand which teams, why are these teams doing so much better than these teams? And so they went through this study, and they found that there's there's a list, but the most predictive piece of information that topped the whole study said that psychological safety is the number one predictor of success on the teams. Wow. So what does that mean? Essentially, it's a space where the people on the team feel safe from the perspective as they can share their opinions. They feel like they can mess up and they won't be reprimanded for it. So it increased innovation and collaboration by almost 30%. It reduced turnover by 50%. They were having incredible results. I forget what the success rate was, but that was significant too. I think it was around 40%. So they're closing more deals, they're doing better business, all because the number one reason is that their management in that department makes them feel safe and supported, and that they have room to use their imagination to expand their ideas and the things that they're doing in order to grow the business ultimately. Yeah. In a couple of weeks, actually, I'm speaking at the Future Forward event for the Economic Times. I'm doing the keynote and a masterclass on how to create high performance teams.
Wow.
That'll be great. That's almost 500 HR professionals that'll be showing up for that. So I'm on a mission to close some of that business.
Absolutely.
If you can get on a stage, get on a stage. If you're in front of a room, it doesn't matter if there's 5, 10 people, get in front of the room, ask for it. Yeah. Request to be the person presenting. You do that a few times, they're now viewing you as the expert, the person that they should be speaking with. It gives you so much credibility that it accelerates your career. Yeah. So those presentation skills are so important, and you just have to get over yourself.
Of course. I agree with that, what you're saying regarding let's say you forget your words or you forget the script or something, and then people are always like, Rick, how is it you do what you do? So for instance, one of my biggest brands I work with is the Sigma Group, okay? We do conferences globally. Sigma, for instance, Malta has 30,000 people. Mm-hmm. So at one stage, you could be speaking in front of 5,000 people. So it's a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I mess up my words all the time, right?
Sure.
As well as public speaking comes along. And people are like, oh, well, what do you do if you forget what you're saying? I was like, no one knows what you're actually meant to be saying.
Yeah.
Right? So if you just continue, and like you say, if you've got the energy and you're delivering it in a manner... It'll just go, and you bring it back on track. It'll just keep flowing and flowing and flowing. Now, I believe alcohol's still frowned in Saudi, correct? So there's a lot of changes where I think that sort of UAE, Dubai are ahead of the game massively. What is your thoughts on gambling becoming regulated in the UAE?
I think it was inevitable. I mean, the world, it's such a huge business in the world. I mean, what is it? Is it trillions or what is it?
Well, last
Billions?
year, the online revenue alone was $800 billion.
Jeez, so
that
close.
Was online, not land-based.
Oh, wow. Okay, so saying $1 trillion was not absurd, thankfully. No. Yeah, I mean, that says it all. And anyone who's business-oriented, which this country clearly is implementing that in this country is not to be use words that it's game changer, right?
It's game changer.
It's game changer.
Yeah.
This is going to make a huge difference in the country as far as like revenue for the country, and it's already doing exceptionally well. Now it's like on steroids.
For sure.
And Saudi for sure is going to follow. For sure.
I mean, imagine casinos and alcohol in Saudi Arabia.
For sure. If I were a betting person, I would bet that it is coming soon.
Coming.
Yeah.
Now, I believe alcohol's still frowned in Saudi, correct? So there's a lot of changes where I think that sort of UAE, Dubai are ahead of the game massively. What is your thoughts on gambling becoming regulated in the UAE?
You know, I think it was inevitable. I mean, the world, it's such a huge business in the world. I mean, what is it? Is it trillions or what is it?
Well, last
Billions?
year, the online revenue alone was $800 billion.
Jeez, so
that
close.
Was online, not land-based.
Oh, wow. Okay, so saying $1 trillion was not absurd, thankfully.
No.
Yeah, I mean, that says it all. And anyone who's business-oriented, which this country clearly is implementing that in this country is not to be use words that... It's game changer, right?
It's game changer.
It's game changer.
Yeah.
This is going to make a huge difference in the country as far as like revenue for the country, and it's already doing exceptionally well. Now it's like on steroids.
For sure.
And Saudi for sure is going to follow, for sure.
I mean, imagine casinos and alcohol in Saudi Arabia.
For sure. If I were a betting person, I would bet that it is coming soon.
Coming. I think so. I think once the UAE regulator, I do think that Saudi will open its doors to a lot more. And obviously,
For sure.
I believe that obviously you're going to be able to start buying properties in Saudi Arabia, and it's only going to be a lot open. I mean, what they're doing, these crazy talks of that there's going to be a ski resort bigger than Austria. Have you seen these plans? Like,
I haven't seen that one, no.
Okay.
But I've seen some others, and they're always bigger than whatever you can imagine. So, yeah. that's the mentality.
An outdoor ski resort that's going to be bigger than Austria in 55 degrees heat.
I can't even imagine what that is, but I want to go.
I want to be part of this.
I'm in for sure. Keep me in.
No. There's so much talk and so much hype, I think, obviously. So it is a big topic, like I say, that we discuss here. And if you look at the facts of it now, obviously, you're from the US. Las Vegas is America's playground.
Yeah.
Macau is Asia's playground. Now, what is in the middle? Ras Al Khaimah. And the reason why, it's just in my opinion, the reason why they are bringing the first land-based casino to Ras Al Khaimah is because they want to extend their Emirates and grow the Emirates out.
Yeah.
Because, let's face the facts, there's not a lot in Sharjah. There's not a lot in Ras Al Khaimah, Fujairah. Right. They're not developed like Dubai. How do you think local Emiratis will accept this?
Of all the Emiratis that I know, they're very open-minded. And I haven't, from my experience, noticed any type of resistance. They're very welcoming and supportive of everything that's happening. So I think that they're on board.
So one more question before we wrap things up, and I think it's quite an important question because there's a lot of hype around it at the moment. What's your thoughts on cryptocurrency?
I mean, it looks solid and it seems like it's going to do something significant. I mean, if I were a betting person, okay, I would say that one of those, if not a couple, are going to make people a lot of money. Which ones? I don't know, but I've invested a little bit here and there, so we'll see.
Like I say, thank you for coming on the show. It's been a pleasure having you, and all the best for 2025.
Thank you.
For your sales and operationals performance. Check out Roller Diabs. It's actually Roller Speaks.
It is on Instagram.
On Instagram. Check out Roller Speaks on Instagram. To all of our viewers here at Bet Talks, thank you, and it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.